Hi folks, Daniel Martin here, founder of KnowYourMarket.ai. Today I wanted to give you a little story about how, when and why I suddenly had that light bulb moment of, gee, I know Kim needs to exist. It's really quite long, but also very simple at the same time. It comes from a few different factors. One part of this is reporting and marketing data. For years, we have been asked as an agency to produce reports for businesses, well, that's fine, and then to produce strategic observations and insights off the back of that, which is also quite fine. And they then pay us to do that. That takes a lot of time often. In some cases, it can take up to a week to generate a report because there are large volumes of data that need to be analysed. It might be obvious that you could then say, run a summary of all of the numbers and make some guesses off that or something like that. You could do that, but then you're summarizing data and then making assessments rather than actually understanding the full picture. We did this, not the summary part, but the analysing the whole picture part, with Victoria Police here in Australia. And we did it for quite a long time. We were generating reports for them on a monthly basis on masses of ads that were running, which then had masses of metrics off the back of them to allow us to generate insights. So we were trying to work out, well, what audience segments meant what geographics should we be using here and there, what creatives worked well, what placements were better than others, what wording should be used in different, all those kind of things were used and analysed each month to produce a report that had both strategic insights and numbers in it. That report was ultimately, in most cases, simply then handed up line so that the managers, so to speak, could see that and say, oh, gee, okay, I know what we should be doing next. Let's do that. The report was mostly for us to then know, okay, let's go ahead and do this other thing first or other thing next. Change this, tweak that. So we'd actually use it internally as much as it would be used as a tool for the client, but they still pay for the generation of it. That seemed arduous, but it was obviously the only option prior to the advent of AI. You simply had to have someone read it all, and people paid big money for it. But it was always in the back of my head that this reporting thing and analytics is something that businesses always want and they'll always pay for. But why are we making it so hard? And why are so few people doing it? Well, I think the last part is because it is so hard and because we were willing to do it and it is a specialty of ours, it was a spot where we would really shine as an agency. We did reporting better than almost everybody else. It's just our thing. There are people that are better videographers, better photographers, better creative artists. We are better analysts and better strategists. It's our thing. So, following on from that, whilst I was living overseas last year, I started reading the book Ogilvy on Advertising. So that's written by David Ogilvy, and it's fundamentally his story, or his insights and concepts and all that kind of stuff. In that, he talks heavily about research and how research is often overlooked and or never used by advertisers because they would jump straight into the creative. It's all about the big bold idea, the creative idea. We're pitching things, we're in meetings with clients, giving new ideas, that kind of stuff, but it was never based on research. In his role, when he first started his organization, he actually behaved as both the research director and the creative director at the same time. What he would do is on a Friday, he would write his research reports to himself. So he would be summarizing the research that was done throughout the course of that week as the research director. He would write a report to the creative director. And then on Monday, he'd put his role or his hat on as the creative director, and he would then read the research report and begin doing his creative work off the back of that research report. Now, obviously, as the organization grew, those roles changed, all that kind of stuff. The key here was he was using research to drive creative. One of the other things that he said in his book is marketers, gee, I look up to them, I don't know how they do it. And that really confused me because I thought advertising was harder than marketing. But then it hit me. It's not. Marketing is multifaceted, it's multi-channel. You have long-term consumer engagement. You are trying to nurture customer loyalty. This stuff isn't easy. In fact, in today's digital world, it's incredibly hard. Advertising, by contrast, is run an ad, get some sales, move to the next thing. It's It's way easier. Now, I know some ad people out there might argue with me. I'm not saying for a moment advertising is easy, but marketing is a long-term play. And that is why I think Ogilvy meant that marketers needed to be looked up to, because it's a much harder play. I thought to myself, well, as a marketing person, being in the marketing world, we generate reports for our clients all the time, much like David did on his Friday afternoon and then Monday morning reading that report. But our reports are all focused on inwardly facing metrics, things that the client has already done. Owned data on Facebook pages, Facebook ads, Meta ads, Instagram, Google, SEO, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, website, whatever it is, all of these activities that we were reporting upon were based off things that had already happened on the owned assets of the client. It wasn't bringing in the research piece that Ogilvy spoke about. That was the light bulb moment. Why don't we combine research and marketing data together to generate actionable decisions rather than just insight reports that give you a whole lot of numbers and tell you what has already happened? Why don't we do that? Well, obviously that wasn't possible prior to AI, or at least if it was possible, it would be incredibly difficult to implement, because you would be expecting someone to read masses of data in the marketing data world, then read, summarize, and know how to execute upon the research data, which is a whole profession in its own right, bring those two together and generate recommendations and actionable decisions off the back of that. That is hard. It is really, really hard to do that. Arguably, you would need a team to deliver upon that. But I knew how to program. That's my thing. I know how to code, and I know how to architect solutions. It hit me, we can use data connectors to bring in market research data, to bring in marketing data, and we can also create our own market research automations inside of KIM. I've done that before. Bring that all together as a data source. Then, using agency IP, I know that I can tell AI engines what to do to read all of that information and generate those actionable decisions for me. I know how to do that. And thus, Know Your Market was born. It went through several iterations initially. I remember pitching the first one to my key colleague, Ellen, and she wasn't impressed to begin with. It was a bit of, what is this? What are you talking about? I don't understand it. Which told me that if the person that was probably commercially closest to me didn't understand what I was talking about, nobody else was going to either. So I took some time away to really hone the proposition and hone the name. And thus, Know Your Market came out. And Know Your Market is something that we're really, really proud of, because that light bulb moment was driven from real things. It wasn't just, I'm on a beach in Hawaii and I've got a wonderful idea because I want to run a jet boat company or something like that. Nothing like that. This is actionable business based off years of knowledge and years of real customer experience. We've been doing this for 15 years. We know how to hang solutions together. That is what created Know Your Market as it is today. It's something that we're super excited about. If you can't tell, I know my face is glowing in here. Maybe the excitement's just bouncing through the camera at you. Maybe it's not, and I need to wind it up a notch. Anyway, I am genuinely excited. It keeps me awake at night thinking about what we can do with this thing, because the opportunity is massive. It's huge. And it's so cool. It's so exciting. I really can't wait to take this out to the world. These are the first steps of that. The foundation of KIM already exists. Taking it out to the world, well, that's what comes next. We want you all to be part of that, and if you go to the website, you will learn how to do that, be that as a customer or a token holder. The opportunity is there for you. So that is why I started KIM, that combination of real-world experience and reading that one very insightful book by David Ogilvy whilst living overseas for a little time. Bringing that together got us to where we are today. That light bulb has come on, and I tell you folks, it ain't coming off. We look forward to having you on the KIM journey with us. Jump on to the website, KnowYourMarket.ai, to learn more, and stay in touch with us on socials, because you will see lots of my face going out on all of our social profiles over the coming years, because I am here to tell you and show you how wonderful this thing really is.